I am Oland
Hello.
from Copenhagen.
Hello, nice to meet you, Oland.
Nice to meet you too. Oland was born the 2nd of May in 1985. That's my birthday. My middle name is Oland.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nana Oland for Bridges.
Oh, okay.
But I started making music 3 years ago. Well, 4 years ago, 2007. Yeah, it was all very obvious that, like, from the minute I started writing songs and fiddling with production in my bedroom in Copenhagen, it was just very obvious that it was something where I didn't pretend to be something. It was like something that was very much just who I am, and I've never been so, at the same time as I'm always like throwing myself into situations I don't really know how to manage, at the same time I also had this weird intuition where I just knew what I wanted, and I just knew what I thought was good and what I thought was bad. And I've never had that about anything else in my life, so it was just like really, well, something very special.
Did you always have in mind that this is the sort of sound you want an Oland to be?
I've always known what I liked, and of course it's not like I've been sitting and then envisioned this is how it's gonna be, because I never made music before, so I didn't know. I just knew along the way, like, play that pot, play this cup, play that table. Oh, that was a sound I liked. You know, something like sounds has to trigger something emotional or nostalgic or something in me, and when it triggers something, it's the right sound, and it might be like a really cheap MIDI sound, but it doesn't matter. I've been listening to a lot of classical music because my parents were both classical musicians. So that's probably the genre that I'm most familiar with of all genres. But then I started, because I was also dancing modern contemporary dance, and in that genre dance there's a lot of electronic avant-garde music. So I got introduced to Oval and Orchestra and like a lot of kind of abstract or like, yeah, non-vocal electronic music, and that really inspired me for like production wise, and it was also such a contrast to the classical music that was so organic. So I kind of just wanted to mix those two worlds, and then obviously the Beatles. Who hasn't been inspired by the Beatles?
Yeah. And what
Even
about
the Beatles? I didn't start listening to popular music until I was 11, and I got Abbey Road from my dad. And I loved the Beatles. I was obsessed with the Beatles. And also that was kind of the only popular music that I was kind of allowed to like. Yeah. In a way, I've been very shielded from the real world in my childhood. Like, I still, a lot of people's gonna hate me when I say this, but I still haven't heard one single Rolling Stone song. Like, there's a lot of music that, because I've just started, I've just like learned about the outside music world of what I was growing up in. So yeah, like just a few months ago I heard Nirvana for the first time. Even though I grew up in the prime time, you know, everybody in my class was listening to it. I was just listening to Swan Lake.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's some pop music that I just can't deny, that is just so efficient that I just can't, you know. Like, for instance, the Rihanna song Umbrella. I literally cried when I heard that first time. I don't know if it was a very sensitive place in my life, but it made me cry, and yeah, I don't know, I have a thing for Rihanna. Like, sometimes she just gets me off guard, and maybe the first time I hear it I'm like, oh, I don't like this song, and then the second time I hear it I'm like, the only guy in the world. I also really loved Halo by Beyonce. I thought that was a great pop song, and I have a pop heart as well. Like I love things that sometimes you just need, like you just need that. Like you can't just watch David Lynch films all the time, then you're just gonna go commit suicide. My favorite David Lynch is actually Twin Peaks, and also Lost Highway.
How do you feel that many people who love you get your music for free off the internet?
Well, I shouldn't be saying it, but I've always personally just never thought that I was gonna make any money anyways. Like I've always had this idea and accept that I would always just be a poor artist. I think it's because I was a dancer, and if you want to be a dancer, the first thing you gotta accept is that you'll never make any money, and it will be so tough work, and the only payoff you get is the enjoyment of what you're doing. So that I've just completely taken with me into the music, and I'm always kind of surprised when I see a paycheck. I'm always like, oh, do I really earn money from playing music? But I think it's sad for the industry in general that it's really suffering, and well, I wish that people would go pay for music, but it's more important that people turn off the tap when they brush their teeth and turn off the light when they leave the house. Like everything I do, I'm extremely involved to a degree where people get a little bit annoyed because I'm so detail oriented, and I'm so passionate about getting things right that I almost just get sick. You know, whenever I do something that's really important to me, I get a fever. And it was like, it was so tough, you know, going into making the video, because it meant so much to me and I just wanted to get it right. But all of that apart, all my like personal frustration and anxiety apart, me collaborating with Canada was just the most brilliant thing. Like we had exactly the same vision. I wrote down all of my dreams and sent it to them because the song's about dreams, and they wrote a treatment based on my dreams and sent it back, and we Skyped and bounced ideas, and they were like, so did you ever have like a really weird dream you want to incorporate? And I was like, yeah, this one, and I want unicorns to be it, and I want to jump off a cliff, and like just sending back and forth pictures.
And they got it.
Yeah, I was very lucky in a way, because like everything was, you know, a lot of things were changing at my label, and a lot of things were like, there's a lot of changes. So at the time where I was doing the video, we were kind of like just me and Canada, we really had a chance to do something that was just like very kind of like, this is what we do, and then we do it, you know. I just got off tour and I'm starting another one tomorrow. So at the moment I'm writing a lot, just in the back seat of the van. I think my next album will be, since I haven't recorded anything yet, it's a bit hard to say, but I see it as like Star Wars, Star Wars meet Dancing with the Wolves.